Hey there, Sam with the Credit Frog. In today's video, we're going to do a what's in my wallet for the second quarter of 2022. Several months ago, I made a video going over what was in my wallet during the first quarter of 2022, which was the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card. And during this quarter, my goal was to meet the pretty aggressive minimum spend requirement, which was to spend $7,500 in the first 3 months to get 75,000 Ultimate Rewards points. Well, I was able to make that minimum spend, so now it's time to go back to my usual everyday spending setup. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the wallet I use is the Ridge wallet, and I specifically use the Damascus version. There are two things I want to point about this wallet. The first is that it has a very minimalist design. So if you look at the length and the width of the wallet, it's pretty much the same as the credit card, giving the wallet the slimmest possible size. And the depth of the wallet is still very reasonable given the number of cards I carry, which is 3 credit cards, as well as my driver's license. The second is that it's very durable. I've actually been using this wallet for about a year now, and I've had no problems with any of the cards like falling out of the wallet or any of the cash slipping out from the cash strap as well. I did a recent unboxing of this wallet in my last video, so if you want a deeper dive into the specifics, definitely check that video out. I'll leave a link to that video up the top right of the screen, as well as down in the description below. Now, for what's exactly in my wallet, I carry a driver's license, a $20 bill, and 3 credit cards. I use these 3 credit cards as part of a 5-card core setup, but I'll go into more detail about that towards the end of this video. So the first card is a very popular card, everyone's favorite daily driver, the American Express Gold card. Just real briefly here, this card is a beautiful gold metal card with a $250 annual fee that offers great multipliers, a $10 monthly Uber credit, and a $10 monthly dining credit. But what's relevant to my setup is that it gets me 4x points on restaurants and 4x points on groceries. Food is by far my most common expense I have on a daily basis, and so this card gets plenty of use out of my wallet. And so yeah, all of my restaurant and grocery purchases go on this card. It also offers 2 credits to help offset the annual fee, like I mentioned before, which are the monthly $10 Uber credit and $10 dining credit. And I know it's kind of annoying, but I'll tell you how I personally use those credits. For the $10 Uber credit, I order food on Uber Eats for dinner once a month. I do this with pickup only so I can avoid that delivery charge, and since there's plenty of food options around my area that accept Uber Eats, spending this credit is no problem for me. And as for the $10 dining credit, there's a Cheesecake Factory on my way home from work, so on one day a month, I swing by the restaurant, pick up a $9.50 cheesecake slice, which with tax is just a tiny bit over $10, and I treat myself to a slice of cheesecake that evening. Okay, so the next card I have in my wallet is a common pairing with the AMEX Gold card, and that is the American Express Blue Business Plus card. This card is a simple card that offers 2x points on all purchases on the first $50,000 spent each year. So for me, this card works great as a catch-all card for any purchases that I have on a daily basis that are not at restaurants or grocery stores, and this gets me 2x points back on everything. I do want to mention at this point that I know we all like to focus on category spend with credit cards like groceries, gas, restaurants, travel, and transit, to name a few. But I want to challenge you to look at your own budget or what you spend money on and see exactly what you spend the most in. It may surprise you, but your largest category is probably the other category or the everything else category. This is why it's so important to have a solid 2% or 2x points back card to capture this often overlooked category. So the final card in my wallet is the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite credit card. Now, this is my newest credit card, and I did an unboxing of this card about a month ago, so I'll leave a card linking to that video on the top right as well as down in the description below if you haven't seen that video yet. But the multipliers on this card aren't really that great if you look at the base rate earnings of 2x points back on travel, 2x points back on dining, and 1.5x points back on everything else. I think the only way that this card makes sense is if you are a part of the Preferred Rewards program by Bank of America. And since I'm at the Platinum Honors tier of this program, I can take advantage of the 75% bonus multiplier, which increases the multipliers to 3.5x points back on travel, 3.5x points on dining, and 2.625x points back on everything else. So for me, this card is actually very helpful to my setup because it serves multiple purposes. The first is that it's my go-to travel card. So if I'm checking it into a hotel, paying for parking, tolls, or taxis, this is the card that I'm going to use for all those purchases, getting me 3.5x back on travel and transit. The second is that it serves as the backup Visa for the AMEX Gold card. For those of you who use AMEX cards often, you know that there are certainly situations where you may go somewhere that may not take American Express cards, and from my personal experience, I've run this issue pretty much exclusively at restaurants. So it was really important to me to have a backup Visa with a good multiplier in the dining category, and this Premium Rewards Elite card does just that with a 3.5x multiplier on dining. And the third reason is that it can also double as an excellent catch-all card, getting me 2.625x back on all of my other purchases at places that do not accept American Express. So just to recap my setup so far, I have the American Express Gold card getting me 4x back on restaurants and 4x back on groceries. I have the American Express Blue Business Plus card getting me 2x back on all other purchases, and I have the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite credit card getting me 3.5x back on travel, as well as 3.5x back on dining, and 2.625x back on all other purchases, with these multipliers being used only in places where American Express is not accepted. But, as I said in the beginning of the video, I use a 5-card setup, and there are 2 other cards that I use to cover additional categories that I don't carry regularly in my wallet. And the first of these 2 cards is the American Express Platinum card. As you all probably know, this card has so many features and benefits, but for my purposes, this card is used exclusively to get 5x points back on flights, as well as 5x points back on all my hotel bookings through Amex's Fine Hotels and Resorts collection, which I typically use at least once per year. I do occasionally put this card back in my wallet when I travel so I can get into Centurion lounges, but on a day-to-day basis, this card typically stays at home. Okay, so finally, the last card in my 5-card setup is the Bank of America Customized Cash card. And this card earns 3% cash back on the category of your choice, 2% cash back at grocery stores and wholesale clubs, and 1% cash back on all other purchases, with a limit of $2,500 per quarter in combined purchases in the 3% and 2% categories. So for me, I've set my choice category to gas, and since I'm part of the Preferred Rewards program at the Platinum Honors tier, I can also take advantage of that 75% bonus multiplier, getting 5.25% cash back on gas and 3.5% cash back at Costco. And this is great because I can get gas at Costco as well, so I can combine discounted gas with accelerated rewards for even greater value. Since Apple Pay is accepted at Costco as well as Costco Gas, I don't have to carry this card around in my wallet. So this is a slide of my 5-card setup. You can see that I use 2 popular setups together for my overall setup, combining the power of the American Express trifecta as well as a Bank of America duo. Of course, I do have other cards as well, but those other cards I use much less frequently than the ones shown here. If you'd like to study this table, go ahead and pause this video now. I do want to mention that even though this is my setup, everyone's personal spending habits are different, so definitely try to find the setup that works best for you. Now, is my setup the most efficient setup? No, not by a long shot, but the multipliers give me great return on my spending, so I'm pretty happy with it. In terms of rewards, I value Amex membership rewards points much more than cash back, so that's why I use my Blue Business Plus over my Premium Rewards Elite card, even though the multiplier on the Bank of America card for the everything else category is higher. The issue with trying to become more efficient with multipliers and benefits is that there will always be a trade-off between simplicity and complexity. The goal for my setup, which I think is probably the goal for you as well, is to get the best multipliers with as few cards as possible. For me, I do value simplicity over complexity, so ideally I'd like my setup to have 2, maybe 3 cards. This way, I'm able to keep my setup simple, but also maximize my rewards potential. Alright, so that's going to do it for this video. I hope you got some value out of it, as well as some ideas for your own particular credit card strategy. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave it a like to let me know you like this kind of content, subscribe down below, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our weekly content. I'll leave both the Ridge Wallet unboxing as well as the Premium Rewards Elite unboxing videos on the end screen in case you haven't checked those out yet. As always, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.